Let's discuss next Kubernetes interview question. What are services in Kubernetes and how many types are there? This question is frequently asked in DevOps interviews. It's very important. Let's see its first usage. Let's take two pods. One is UI pod and API pod. Let's say UI pod is communicating with API pod on its IP address. There is a problem. That is, if API pod is recreated, let's say it is running on a node. That node we are taking off for the sake of maintenance. What happens? The pods running on this node are evicted and rescheduled on a different node. In such cases, the IP address will change. Then what happens? UI pod must know the new IP address. That's a problem. UI pod is deployed with old IP address of API pod. Now API pod got rescheduled on different node. Its IP address got changed. Now the problem comes. To fix this problem, we can bring service into picture. What service does? It provides stable IP address. We can also access service using its name, which can be consistent all the time, and we put this pod behind service. Now UI pod talks to API pod on service IP address or service name, which will never change. Service in turn forwards that request to the pod running in the background. Even if pod is rescheduled on a different node, even the pod IP is changing, those changes are dynamically detected by the service. Now for UI pod, there is no problem of dynamically changing IP address. UI pod always communicates with service IP address or on service name, which is going to be consistent. This is first scenario of using service. The next scenario, in production environments, we want to scale this particular API service. Now it is running on single pod. For scaling this application, we need to deploy the replicas of same application, same pod. Let's say I want to put 3 pods now to handle more traffic. Again, service can load balance all 3 pods in the background. UI sends request to service. Service distributes that traffic across 3 pods in the background. Service is also acting like a load balancer here. Coming to the second part of the question, that is, how many types of services are there in Kubernetes? We have 4 types. Number 1, ClusterIP. Meaning service is assigned with a private IP address. Here private meaning this IP address is accessible within the cluster. We use ClusterIP for applications which must be private. I mean the applications which should not be exposed to the outside world. A good example is database, because no one from outside world can directly talk to a database. They can talk to a web server, and web server in turn can talk to database, but not outside people directly talking to the database. That is a good example for ClusterIP. Second type is NodePort. NodePort helps us to expose the service to the outside world. How it works is, on each node, a specific port number is allocated. When client hits the node on the allocated port number, the traffic is routed to service. Using NodePort, the service can be exposed to the outside world. Third service type is Load Balancer. This feature is available only on cloud platforms, meaning your Kubernetes cluster is set up on Amazon Web Services, Azure, GCP. Only in such cases, Load Balancer type is supported. If you choose Load Balancer as a type, what happens? In the background, cloud native load balancer is provisioned, and by hitting this load balancer endpoint, the traffic gets routed to a service. Using load balancer also, we can expose the service to the outside world. The fourth type is external name. In some cases, you may have applications running outside Kubernetes cluster, and applications running inside Kubernetes cluster want to access the application running outside Kubernetes cluster. In such cases, we can create a service of type external name. Here, we configure the DNS name of external service so that applications inside Kubernetes can point to this service, which can route traffic to the service running outside Kubernetes cluster. That's all about services in Kubernetes and its types. Thanks for watching.